Hello and welcome to my final video project for Arth 20, where I'll be discussing the 1960s, the American pop art movement, Roy Lichtenstein's history, and a couple of his famous works. Now I'm not gonna lie, this is some of my favorite artwork in all of history, so I really hope I do these paintings justice, and let's get started. So my goal for this video is for you guys to learn a little bit more about the pop art movement from the 1960s, and for you guys to hear about some of those works from the movements as well. In a book called The American Culture in the 1960s, written by Sharon Monteith, the 1960s is described as the most dynamic and icon-shattering decade of the 20th century, when everything seemed possible for a brief shining moment. In general, the 1960s was a time filled with new perspectives, from the civil rights and the Vietnam War to the war on poverty and even the space race. Part of the 1960s was that shift in artistic style. Artists began to paint with a minimalist and abstract point of view, in which paintings, sculptures, and prints were characterized by simple and unified looks. These artworks were often more massive and geometrical than past artworks from the Renaissance period and the Middle Age period. Pop art falls into this category of minimalist and abstract art. The pop art movement brought us the rise of a style based on cartoons, comics, and advertisements. Paintings, sculptures, and prints of the pop art period would often recreate another famous painting with a commercial twist. Famous artists of the pop art movement include Andy Warhol, Jasper Johns, James Rosenquist, and, of course, Roy Lichtenstein. During its time, pop art was criticized because of the way it challenged art tradition. Many people said pop artists were the worst artists in the US due to their appeal to irony and humor rather than elegance and grace. However, today pop artists are celebrated and appreciated, as their paintings, on average, sell for $43 million a painting. Can you believe that? Among many 1960s pop artists is Roy Lichtenstein. Lichtenstein was born on October 27, 1923 in New York City. He grew up in an upper-middle-class Jewish family in the Upper West Side in Manhattan, New York. Lichtenstein became interested in art at a very early age. While in school, he was an avid jazz fan and frequently drew portraits of musicians playing their instruments. He graduated high school and went on to get a Master's of Fine Arts from Ohio State University in 1949. During his college years, he took a schooling break and spent 3 years in the Army during and after World War II from 1943 to 1946. In 1951, Lichtenstein had his first solo exhibition at Carlebach Gallery in New York. In that same year, he moved to Cleveland, where he remained for 6 years, frequently traveling to New York. In 1957, Lichtenstein finally moved back to New York permanently and became a teacher. This was around the same time cartoons like Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny gained loads of popularity. It wasn't until 1961 when Lichtenstein started painting pop art and using cartoon images and technique, and 1964 when he began experimenting with sculptures. Lichtenstein had many famous paintings and sculptures, but the two we will be talking about today are his Look Mickey oil canvas painting and his In the Car pop art painting. Look Mickey was painted in 1961 and is currently in the National Art Gallery in Washington, D.C. A fun fact about this piece is that it was created due to a challenge from one of Lichtenstein's sons. The son pointed at a Mickey Mouse comic book and said, "I bet you can't paint as good as that, Dad." As you can see in the painting, Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse stand on a pier staring at the water. Donald thinks he has caught a fish when he's actually snagged his own coattails. He says in his speech bubble over his head, "Look, Mickey, I've hooked a big one," as Mickey giggles from behind him. The main element of art used in this piece is obviously color. The bright yellows and blues bring out the iconic character's features while also simplifying the painting. Lichtenstein utilizes heavy black contour lines to bring out Mickey's face and Donald's eyes, as if they were from a comic book or a magazine. Look Mickey is most well known as the first example of using comic book imagery as a source of art. The painting expresses dark, ironic humor coming from notorious popular characters. It also emphasizes the concept of self-sabotage along with the bystander character watching from the side and laughing. In the Car is another Lichtenstein pop art painting from 1963 that can be found in the Scottish National Gallery of Modern Art in Edinburgh. This painting is based off a comic book panel by Tony Abruzzo in the series Girl Romances number 78. Similar to the Look Mickey painting, In the Car uses harsh contour lines and bright colors to enunciate the features and romance of the beautiful blonde woman and the handsome squared-faced man in the car. The painting conveys the essence of time with the horizontal lines of motion that are brushed by the man and woman's faces. Lichtenstein painted this pop art on a monumental scale that was much enlarged from his original source of the comic strip. The concept of glamour and drama expressed through the man and woman's appearance, attire, and car present the archetypal image of contemporary America Lichtenstein is attempting to explore in this piece of art. Lichtenstein and other pop artists have made a great impact universally. They challenged the complexity of art and incorporated the pop culture of the time into their masterpieces. The 1960s pop art movement was an inspiration to the 1990 British art movement in London and paved the way for many more movements. As I end this video, I encourage you to look up some pop art online after watching this and find your favorite pop art piece. Thanks for watching. Bye!